Welcome back to the Badass Literature Society, where badasses come together to rate and review novels recommended by you. Hi, I'm Michael.
This is Barbara.
And I'm Lauren.
Today we'll be doing part 2 of a bonus episode that we started in December. We'll be answering fun, lighthearted, and spontaneous book-related questions on the spot without any time to prepare. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into our questions. Question number 1. Barbara, what is a book you can read over and over and over and over and over again without ever getting bored?
I feel like I have too many to list. I had a lot of books. I remember when I first got my Kindle, I went to Brazil and I only had 3 books and I had nothing else, and I just reread those 3 books for 2.5 months. So I don't know. I've, for the most part, unless I absolutely did not like the book, I've read most of my favorite books at least twice. So I don't know. I don't have a definitive answer for that. I would just say any book that I enjoy, I could read multiple times without getting sick of it.
Fair enough. I think mine would be The Hobbit, because it's the book I've probably read the most in my lifetime, and I still enjoy reading it, even though probably maybe not as much today as I did as a child, but it's still fun to read.
Yep, mine is going to be shocking. The Harry Potter series. I feel like, because I don't always have to reread all of them either in a sitting or at a certain time, I could just randomly pick like book 3 or book 6 and just reread those. And I feel like even though I'm on like my, I don't know how many times of rereading, I feel like I still like notice something new every time, or like, I don't know, think about it differently at different stages of life. So it's probably either that series, or I also could probably infinitely reread Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk and be okay with that too.
It's also a solid choice. I am so shocked that you chose Harry Potter.
I knew you would be. I try to keep people guessing.
I'm just
I try
shook
not
to
to
my
be.
core.
I
That's the
try
like the
not to
last
be.
thing I was expecting you to say. So,
I try not to be too predictable.
all right. Next question: what is the longest book you've ever read? And that one's for me, and I think it's just going to keep being whatever book I'm on in Brandon Sanderson's The Way of King series. So right now, I'm on Oathbringer, and Oathbringer is the longest book I've ever read. Each of those books is a little bit longer than the last one, and they're all over 1,000 pages. So I think the one I'm on, Oathbringer, I think was like almost 1,300 pages, if I remember right. So that is, I believe, at least the longest book that I've read.
So ever since I've had to switch more to an audiobooks type setting, I don't know that I know page counts anymore for a lot of what I've read. It is probably going to be one of the podcast books, and it's probably going to be one that Michael has picked. So it's probably going to be the Brandon Sanderson.
So are we going page count or word count? Because those are two different things. Because I know
yeah.
Because like some books look bigger and they're thicker, but like word count wise, it's just because of how they made the book, and so
I'd say you could go either way. I mean, page count or word count.
Mm.
Word count is probably more accurate to your point, but I don't
Right.
know. I don't know if I don't think I know the word count of any books that I've read, though. Is the only problem.
So probably either the Brandon Sanderson book that we read, or the
Definitely not that one, Lauren, because you've read
not
Harry Potter
Twist.
books that are longer than Elaine
I was
Twist.
gonna say, I think Harry Potter is longer. The
Priory of the Orange Tree.
There you go. I was gonna say it's either Priory or Day of Fallen Night.
Hold on. Let me Google those.
Because Priory was like 20 some hours of listening.
Are we doing paid? Do you want me to do word count then for those 3 to see which one's longest?
Sure. Yes, I think that is more accurate if you could find that info.
Because Priory was 20 plus hours of listening, and then there was one other podcast book that was also in the 20 plus, and that's with me listening at like 1.5 or higher. So technically, it's probably even longer. But I don't know word counts anymore.
That's Harry Potter.
Okay. Is that the whole series though?
No. That's just Order of the Phoenix, the largest book.
The longest one. Okay. So for those of you who can't see, it's 257,045 words.
Whew.
In Order of the Phoenix.
What's the Priory? Do you think the other one was longer? The second one, or do you think Priory was longer?
I think Day of Fallen Night was longer.
Okay.
Because I remember going to Barnes and Noble and like,
Oh, yes. Day of Fallen Night is more.
and I only listened to it, and I did never see a physical copy, and I'm like, man, she thick book, like it's huge.
She thick with 2 C's.
So is that the second Priory then?
That's Day of Fallen Night
Day
is that one.
Okay, so Day of Fallen Night is 295,000. That one makes me happy just because it's a nice, like, even.
All right, so I guess if we're doing word count, then I'll just revert back to Oathbringer. It's still Oathbringer, but it's 452,000 words.
Holy shit, Michael.
Gosh.
The latest book in that series is just shy of 500,000 words.
So, Michael, when you have a physical copy of that, does it come like spiral bound so that like you can actually open it without breaking the spine?
Funny you say that.
You know what? This is a great opportunity to talk about something that has nothing to do with this episode. So I have a physical copy of these books, and I literally, I was so excited because like I got Oathbringer off the shelf. I was like, yes, I have a first edition hardcover. I'm going to read this. It's so thick and so heavy that the binding has trouble keeping the book together.
I wondered, like,
so I'm reading a digital copy of it because I don't want to mess up my my first edition physical copy.
All I could think was that, I mean, you might be able to open it, but like it's gonna break the spine because of how thick it has to be.
Yeah,
and that's like a no-no. You shouldn't be breaking your spines on your books.
I was worried it was gonna fall apart, and I didn't want that to happen. So
that's crazy.
Agreed. So I think A Day of Fallen Night is for me because I'm looking at my bookshelf and I think that's the biggest book, honestly.
You don't see anything thicker over there than Day of Fallen Night?
No, I mean I looked at Babel, but Babel is not quite a bit. It's 52K. Well, actually no, it's quite a bit. I was like, oh no, it's just I lied. It's like 95K less. I'm trying to think of any other large book outside of like Harry Potter. And I really do think it's A Day of Fallen Night then, because I don't
so Barbara, you've read Lord of the Rings, and technically if you consider it as a single book.
We don't though.
Okay.
No one does. There's no technically,
because that's 480,000.
It split up into 3, and I read it as 3 books. So no, I don't count that. I didn't read it once. Like, I got quizzed on it as a small child in my library days on 3 separate books. So we were counting it as 3 separate books. I'm trying to think. I don't think.
So yeah, that would definitely be mine. Would be like the Priory books then.
Yeah, it's A Day of Fallen Night then. Because The Count of Monte Cristo. Let me Google that. Hold on. That one's a thick book.
Count of Monte Cristo is going to beat you. It beat that. It's 464,023 words.
Okay. That would be I mean, I guess I haven't read that for the podcast, but I have read that. So, will that one wins?
I think that one definitely wins for you. Yeah. Lauren, have you read anything longer? It's anything. It's not just podcast books.
Or Three Musketeers. I think that one's pretty thick too.
That one is pretty thick also.
I think Day of Fallen Night would probably be, because the Harry Potter ones are the other ones that I've.
Yeah, and Order of the Phoenix is the largest, and
Three Musketeers is not as long as you thought. It's only 232,000 words.
Oh, there you go.
I started reading one of the other Brandon Sanderson books that was real thick, and I DNF'd it because it was too intimidating.
Oh,
which one? No, I don't know.
It was like the Mistborn.
Oh, those were good. That's
not
that long though, unless you get it all at once.
My friend Sam told me that I would like them, and I said that you guys really enjoyed them.
So just because I was curious, the first book in that series is 210,000 words,
which is still up there for me.
Fair.
Because that's probably 20 plus hours of listening, when my average books that I usually gravitate towards for listening are like 15 hours and less.
That is fair.
So there we go.
That was a fun tangent about book length for us.
I know that was. So like what we read for the book podcast, the book. Jeez, I'm sorry, I'm tired. For the podcast, Day of Fallen Night would I think be mine.
I think that would be all of ours, because I think that's the longest book we've read for the podcast.
Yeah.
Unless, but Lauren didn't read it, but unless Name of the Wind is longer, the one that you and I read in our first season or second season. That's the only big one I can think of.
No, 242.
So yeah, just a little bit shorter. Okay.
That's why I think it's important to go by words versus like thickness, because some books are deceiving.
That was a really good point. I think that's definitely more accurate.
So
Well, yeah, and some fonts like they make
exactly.
larger, and then it's like, oh, the book is bigger, but then really it's only
Mhm.
like 600 pages or something.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right, Lauren, are you
When
ready
you
for your
put it in
question?
perspective.
If
Si,
you were
senor.
trapped in a snowstorm, what one book would you want to have with you?
I mean, like the very first one that comes to mind is obviously what I've already said, but I feel like I'm not going to be cliche and continue to resort back to Harry Potter. But you know what? In the times that we're living in right now, Hogwarts just might be nice to just escape into sometimes. However, let me think. No, I think I'd stick with Harry Potter. Can I have like the whole series though?
Got to be a single book. That's how the question's worded. One book. If you're going to pick
One
Harry Potter,
book.
you have to pick one of the books from Harry Potter.
Okay, I don't love that. Come back to me.
All right, we'll come back around. Barbara, what about you?
Single book to read. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna do the same thing. Like, what book can I read over and over again? It's the same. Like, I can read a lot of books over and over again. Which one would I pick? Like, I don't. A Day of Fallen Night because it's so big. It'll last me through the whole snowstorm. I don't know. I would want a bigger book so it could last me a while, but I don't think because it's hard to just pick one book because like if I pick one in a series then it's not the whole series and that's troublesome because like I
Right.
want so it has to be a standalone book and I'm trying to think most standalone books aren't thick so now I'm stuck on the little issue here. I don't know.
What to do? What to do?
Oh no, screw it. Day of Fallen Night because it's so big and we just talked about how long it was and that'll get me through the
Hey, that's fair.
stuck in the snow. Is it a snowstorm? What's happening to me here?
It's a snowstorm. Yeah, you're trapped in a snowstorm.
Yeah, I've had that. Well, I've never been stuck in a snowstorm. I've had no electricity for like a week because of snow.
Would I be able to, if I wanted to
I like
say
how
that
we're putting conditions on this.
Well,
You guys all this always
so
happens with these kind of questions. But go ahead.
I have never technically read The Lord of the Rings. So if I wanted to embark on that journey during my snowed in experience, would I be able to get the version that has all of them included?
I would allow that because you could literally walk into your local Barnes and Noble or bookstore and buy that. So yes.
Perfect. So I would do that because it would force me to invest the time that I know because I want to read those and they're on my list. It's just intimidating the amount of time it's going to take. And I know that I'm not going to just want to read the first one. And so, like, if I'm starting a series, it can be very intimidating. So I would do that.
Solid choice. It's funny Barbara put that in the chat about Stephen King. That's because I was going to pick It by Stephen King or The Stand because I've never read The Stand and I just looked that up and that's his longest book. So I enjoy
Michael
Stephen
just wants
King
to be
generally.
terrified for
So.
the whole time
I
he's
was gonna
walked
say
into the
like
snow.
I feel like Under the Dome was really thick, but I think it's still less words than A Day of Fallen Night. I googled
Probably
Under
it,
the
so I
Dome
don't
was good.
Yeah.
I don't know what's more accurate, you know.
I
Yeah.
like Stephen King and I thought about Stephen King, but then I also thought I'm already probably going to have anxiety because of the snowstorm.
Right. I don't
So,
want a horror book.
should I read horror the whole time I'm stuck in this situation?
Yeah, that sounds like
Maybe
a
not.
bad idea. I'm
It would
definitely
either
not
be
reading a horror
that
book.
or I would bring the first book in the Stormlight Archive series, The Way of Kings. I would bring The Way of Kings. I really enjoy the first book. I would absolutely read that again. And in a snowstorm, and I had no other choice. That's something I would enjoy. Diving back into that first book and getting to meet those characters again and all that fun stuff. So
Yeah, I hate questions like this because I can't pick just one.
she says
Like
that,
that would
listeners, because Barbara's answer to this question in reality is her Kindle, because then she can read whatever
yes,
she wants on her
exactly.
Kindle.
But you don't let
That's
me
true.
answer it that way. You don't
Guess
let
that's not
me
her.
answer that way, so I can't.
I just did. I gave the listeners that answer. Your real
It's
life
the
answer
truth
is
though. My
your
real life
Kindle.
answer would be my Kindle, and that way I can read all my books that I have in there. And it's quite large now. Back to the days when I only had 3 books and I reread all 3 of them 20 times.
And if somehow this podcast were taking place in the 90s and Barbara was asked this question, she would figure out a way to be Snowstorm trapped in a library so she could then read whatever book she wanted to the whole
I
time.
mean,
That would be amazing.
that's a story there, isn't it? That would be fun.
It would be.
It's like those kids that got stuck in the mall, but instead it's the library.
Of course, then if I got snowstormed into a library and was stuck there, I'd probably end up with just getting analysis paralysis, walking around trying to figure out what book I wanted to read and then not get anything done.
Oh
So.
no,
But you'd
that's
have
not
plenty
good.
of time.
Depending on how long I was stuck. That's true. That's true. Anyway, let's move on to our next question. Barbara, do you organize your bookshelves in a specific way? If so, how?
I'm glad you asked, Michael, because this is a very important question. I do organize my bookshelf in a certain way, and I wish that I could be one of those people who does it in color schemes, because I think that looks really cool. But the OCD-ness in me, you would think that I would like the color scheme, but my bookshelf has to be organized by authors because obviously I can't have a book in one series be all the way in the other bookshelf and not together. So my bookshelf is organized by. So if I had it my way, because right now I've run out of space in my bookshelf, and so I'm just shoving books in right now. So it's not exactly how I would like it to be. But when I first didn't have so many books and everything fit perfectly in my bookshelf, it was organized by authors together, and then YA versus adult, and kind of like fantasy versus horror versus other genres. I tried putting those together, but like I said, now it's just kind of like a hot mess because I'm literally just shoving books wherever I can find them in little hidey hoes because I ran out of space and I just pre-ordered a bunch of books. So it's gonna, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I've never gotten rid of a book, so this might actually have to be when I do, because I still have books from when I was, I don't know, in middle school reading and stuff. So I still have those books, and I don't want to get rid of them. I have to do something. But yes, that is how I organize my books.
Insert the T Swift. It's me. Hi.
I'm the providence. Oh, I know it is. Trust me.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
And someone would be like, "Oh, Barbara, why don't you just buy another bookshelf?" Alas, I already have 3, and there fits no more
There
in my
fits
room.
no more. I don't know,
No
What
Barbara.
you
more.
need
I
to do,
see.
Barbara, is just take up all that space and have it be like the library and just like shelf and then a couple feet over and then another shelf and then a couple feet over and then another shelf facing each other.
Where?
You'll have aisles in your
Yeah,
office.
aisles.
I would need to be able to walk.
I don't know,
that big of
Barbara.
a room.
I see a small space of wall space behind you in the frame there. So, like by the window, it looks like there might be room for opportunity.
But that's the problem is behind me right there is a drawer. Like I need to
Oh.
open that,
Do you
or
really need your clothing? No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I could probably figure that out. Move
Priorities.
That
No.
around. I know my books are. I don't know what I'm gonna do. This is a problem, dear readers.
Dear readers.
So I guess for my answer to that question, my books are organized on Barbara's bookshelves however she wants them organized because
That's a
she
good
likes this a
idea.
certain
We'll
way.
get rid of Michael's books.
That's not. I don't think that's what I suggested.
Aw.
Whoa, whoa
Poor
there.
Michael.
But I did actually talk to Barbara about moving my books into here onto this shelf that's behind me and rearranging because currently the only thing on my bookshelf that's not really a bookshelf that just happens to have some books on it is my manga, and it's organized by series. So I do have some organization there. But
My bookshelves are. I have like 3 floor to ceiling situations after we finish the basement. It's my happy place. Unfortunately, the bottom 2 shelves are children's books, just because of an excess of those elsewhere. So, since that's what they can reach, those are occupied. And then I have them organized kind of by genre, but then also by color because. But I tried to do like the color thing on the whole bookshelf, and it bothered me because like I wanted all my Leanne Moriarty books like together, and I wanted all my Chuck Palahniuk books together, and like the covers didn't match, and I'm like, I can't have Chuck next to Harry Potter, like that's just not. So
that just doesn't make sense.
I have three shelves dedicated to Harry Potter books, different versions, the illustrated copies, and then the like various merch that I have acquired over the years, especially on our Universal trip. I even saved like my Gilly water bottle because I'm a freaking nerd. So I have that on my bookshelf. So that's all there. And then I have the authors that I have a lot of their books, they're organized. And then if it's just genre based, like you guys can see above me here, that's all like my dark and stormy books, fantasy,
I like how
sci-fi. Yeah, so like they're all organized by color, but also genre. So they're all pretty much like, like sci-fi, fantasy, and darkish things. And then I have like a self improvement section, and like I don't know, they're just kind of, they're aesthetically pleasing but also functional because I just couldn't go with like, I love the little TikTok bookshelves where they're all the color
schemes, and I think that's so pretty, but like logistically speaking it bothers me because like you said, like I can't have two completely different authors next to each other, and the series has to be close, because if I'm going to read the whole series, then I'm trying to search for the dang book, and I can't remember. Is it hot pink? Is it orange? Is it black? Is it blue? Who's to know? I can't do that. Nope.
So yeah, I did colors just if they all are like chick lit or whatever.
Right.
Then I organized my chick lit or whatever beach read shelf by color, but I couldn't just do it all by color. So
no.
If I kick my kids' books out, I have lots more room on my bookshelf. But if I don't, I have limited remaining real estate, unless I got rid of like
no, I see a lot of space there. Do you want to look at ours?
Are you talking about like vertical space?
Yeah, girl. Yeah. I've already shoved books that way too. Look at all that room. You got plenty of room.
I've got room, true. And then like over there, yeah, I've still got some room to add, but
you should take pictures of ours and post it for people to see how atrocious mine is.
We should post
we
pictures
can do that.
Of our bookshelves.
Like my books are being covered by other books, and that is not okay in my book.
Well, right now I have a Chiefs football on display up there we had it on there for Sunday for the game, which was awful, but whatever.
I was gonna say.
And it's covering up one of my mini Harry Potter things, so I need to relocate that because it doesn't make my heart happy when I look at that. Alas, yes.
All right, let's see. Next question. What book has made you cry the hardest? Interesting question. Let's see. So I'm just going to say the first thing that came to mind, which is Next Year in Havana, a book that we read for the podcast many moons ago. I think that's the title. Now Barbara's making looks that make me think I'm giving
No. I'm just curious to know what part of that book made you cry.
I might be thinking of the wrong book.
Like that's the Kuba book.
I am thinking of the wrong book.
I was like, that made you cry? Like, why? Not that it's not. Maybe it is kind of a sad. I don't remember it having any super sad parts.
That was not the book I was thinking of.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it. Hold, please. We Were the Lucky Ones was the book that I was trying to
that makes more sense.
Not Next Year in Havana. I believe those books were recommended by the same person, and that's why I was thinking of that. Anyway,
shout out Carly.
Yep. So yes, We Were the Lucky Ones is the book that came to mind that really got to me emotionally. For those of you who haven't read it, it's a book about a family in World War II, Germany, and kind of their story as far as what happens, and it's very, very intense, very emotional. I really liked it, but it did make me cry. So that's mine.
The most recent one that I remember reading that had me like bawling would have been the one that Barbara recommended. This was years ago, but The Art of Racing in the Rain. I can't remember the author right now. It's of course about dogs, so like I'm gonna cry. There have been a lot of books that I've cried during, but I can't think of many since that one that like I've maybe shed a tear, like a single tear, or like gotten teary-eyed. but like I can't think of many since then. The like I was just sitting there like sobbing.
You're welcome.
So yeah, thanks
That-
Barbara for that.
That would be mine. So I bought this book and it was called The Art of Racing in the Rain, and I ugly cried. I normally don't cry during books. Like even if it is sad and stuff like that, I might get like a little like choked up and stuff like that, but I don't cry. But I was bawling because the book is, if no one's read it or have heard of it, it's in the dog's perspective. And it's an amazing book. I could also just be thinking, because I have such strong emotional ties to that book, of thinking of how good it was. I thought it was really good. Maybe Lauren can attest to if whether it's a good book or not. I don't know.
I thought it was really good. Obviously,
Yeah.
I mean, I cried too.
I think if you're a dog person, you would like the book. But that's probably the only book I have ever ugly cried. I have cried or gotten choked up. Actually, it was Dear Monica, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, that was really good too.
That one, surprisingly, at the very end, because it's a twist at the end, or kind of like it's an emotional twist, I guess I would say. And that one actually got me choked up more so than I thought I would. And I'm pretty sure I actually cried just a little bit at the very end, for personal reasons. It's a very personal book, you know? So that one would be the last one I remember, or actually ever cried for the podcast. I don't think I cried for any
What
other
about
book
Under the
that we've
Whispering Door? That's the one I was gonna.
done. No, I didn't cry for that one.
No.
Well, the one, the doggy, actually. I got a little choked
Mhm.
up for the doggy.
Yeah, that's where it got me too.
Yeah. So that one, only because of the dog. So if you see a theme here, humans, meh, but doggos or animals, I will get sad about. That one, yeah, actually, that one got me a little choked up for the dog, but choked up, I actually didn't. There was no physical tears. Dear Monica, there was. I think I remember like 2 physical tears falling down my face. So
That is pretty accurate on theme though for Barbara. For those listeners who have seen the movie John Wick, I've never seen her cheer more for the death of human beings in a revenge movie than in the first John Wick movie after they killed his dog. So,
I mean, that's a terrible movie because of that.
I mean, when I Am Legend or whatever came out,
Oh,
I literally did not cry or did not get emotional for any of the human deaths, but the dog scene got me.
I mean, even in like stupid
you're a
war
heartless person if
movies,
that scene didn't get you though.
war movies, if like someone, like I'll be screaming at Michael, I swear to God, they better not shoot the horse. But Michael's like, they shoot the horse because it's the easiest way to get the person down. I was like, I don't care. Don't be shooting no horses. And but yes, I get emotional for animals.
Whenever we watch movies with dogs, I just like look at James and I'm like, this dog better not die.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to finish the movie.
But for Barbara, it could be completely fictional creatures. Like we were watching Avatar or something, and she'd be like, "They better not hurt. They better not hurt that thing. They better not hurt it." And it's. But I get it.
What can I say?
Let's see. Our next question for Lauren is: who is your ultimate fictional crush?
I feel like this one comes up a lot. And I don't know that I ever I haven't as an adult had one. As a kid, I was going to marry Ronald Weasley because not because I wanted was super attracted to Ron necessarily, but because I wanted to be in the Weasley family. If that makes sense.
But what, Ronald? You had so many choices. How many children they have? 7?
I think age wise, right? Because I was reading it and
as Ron, their age,
their age. So I don't even think that my young mind conceived that I could possibly date one of the other
someone
brothers.
older.
Yeah. And then I married someone 7 years older than me, so there's that. But as a kid, I'm yeah, it's got to be Ron, and I just really want to be a Weasley. I want Mrs. Weasley to knit me a sweater, and I want to go to the Burrow at Christmas time, and I want to
I love how you're just trying to marry into the family, not even because you enjoyed Ron. Poor Ron.
I know.
He's a means to an end.
I liked Ron. I think that I was more attracted to Ron before the movies came out.
Well, the movies did Ron dirty.
They
like
they did a little bit.
they
And
really
I think
did.
that Rupert Grant is,
Yeah.
I don't think he's unattractive by any means, but
right.
I think the Ron that I had in my head didn't match up, which happens with books a lot.
Right.
The only other like book crush that I would say I've ever had would have also been like when I was a teenager. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like everybody went through a weird Twilight phase. Maybe it was just me. I was definitely Team Jacob. I thought Sparkly Edward was weird to be into that, but you know.
What was your sign that you were Team Jacob? Was it the life-size Taylor Lautner cutout that you had in your room?
Oh no, you had one of those.
I did.
That's amazing.
Barbara, like, we should post that for just fun on the podcast. I think I have a picture of me with it.
Do you have?
Yeah, I do. I have pictures. So like, I went to all of the midnight showings and like the midnight releases or whatever, and like me and my friends would like paint like dog prints like on our faces.
What? That was the thing.
To be like Team Jacob. Yes, it was a thing. Don't hate. 100% as a, like I guess a teenager wanted to be boned by a werewolf. I don't know. So
it's a phase, Mom.
It's just a phase, Mom. It really was. Creepy side story about my life-size Taylor Lautner cutout. My brother used to think it was hilarious to move him around the house and put him in like dark corners of my room so that it appeared that like someone was actually in my bedroom.
Terrible.
So I would wake up very alarmed because Taylor Lautner had moved, and now it didn't look like Taylor Lautner in the dark. It just looks like a shadow of a man. Like, when I tell you, like, I have so much, like, probably just childhood trauma because of the man on this podcast.
Now, to be fair, Lauren, I didn't just do that to you. I also scared the crap out of Dad and Mom.
Yeah, you did.
I put it at the foot of their bed in the dark, so they woke up, looked, and there was a person standing over them.
My parents would be so pissed off.
The thing is,
they were mad.
he's really lucky they didn't have a heart attack. Let's just be real.
I was gonna say,
because yeah, it was terrifying. So like he did me dirty with the Taylor Lautner poster many times, and I felt like eventually it just kind of ruined it for me. So I think there was one time like he put him behind like the curtains in my room, so like in the daytime you wouldn't notice, but then like at night with the street light and like the porch lights, like it creates like this silhouette behind the friggin', so then it looks like a man's in my window. So I just like it's just the level of like conniving that occurred in our home. Anyway, that was a tangent. I'm gonna let somebody else talk now.
That was ingenious placement behind the window. Just to say. Anyway,
I like how you're like patting your own head here.
He is
exactly. I sure am.
He's like, this was genius.
Oh, I forgot about that. That made my night.
Like the best.
Thank you for sharing.
I am the best.
Oh, you're welcome. I'll send you guys the pictures in case you want to.
I mean, we need to be posting a bunch. Like, this is giving us comedy gold for our socials here. If someone would actually post them. Let's see. I was trying to think while you were talking and trying to listen at the same time. First off, I never had a full cutout of anybody, so there's that. I'm trying to think if I had any book crushes. I don't think I did. I don't recall like having one. Okay. So vaguely, I think I had a crush on in the Harry Potter series, Victor Crumb. I had a crush on him.
I liked him too.
I'm trying to think of like his description and stuff like that. I don't think he was like described as being attractive, but for some reason I like the silent kind. And like the little bits that we did get of him from Hermione, he seemed really like a nice boyfriend. So maybe that's why. So I think when I was younger, I read The Man in the Iron Mask, and I had a crush on the nice twin brother. And I don't remember the names and stuff like that off the top of my head, but I guess maybe I don't know. I don't know if that would be considered like I liked him obviously more than his crappy brother. If anyone is familiar with that story, but I'm trying to think. I don't think. Oh my god, Laura just showed the picture of her Taylor Lautner cutout. That is amazing.
It was so realistic, like for the
It
time.
is. It kind of looks like that is
But
amazing.
imagine waking up to that. Like it's
that would be really
so
creepy if
jarring.
it moved. That's hilarious. That is amazing. We have to post that. That's too funny. Yeah, I don't know if I have one. I'm trying to think of like books that I read as a kid, and there were like mice and stuff, so like I wouldn't have a crush on them, you know.
Why, Barbara? You kink
Not-
shaming?
I mean, I guess I'm not king shaming, but I wasn't into that. So I
I feel like every little romance book I read, like I had a crush on the main, like the
Oh,
main
really?
character.
Well,
just like a fleeting thing. But I
Sure,
took the
sure.
question as more like as something that lasted like any length of time.
Right. Like I didn't care for either of the Twilight guys. Like I thought both of them were kind of annoying.
What about anyone in like Hunger Games?
So I was a PETA. PETA. I preferred PETA over Gale. I thought Gale was kind of like self-righteous and into himself. I guess I liked my sensitive boys, which is hilarious. um, but I liked PETA, but like I don't know if I had a crush on him. Like I guess maybe I'm taking this too literal. Like the way I see it, like I would read these books and I guess I would pick one of the guys I would want to ship the main character with. But like for me, I personally wasn't like, oh yes, this is the standard. I've never, I don't know. I really can't think of anyone off the top of my head like that.
I feel like, Barbara, it tracks that you like the sensitive guys because then you ended up with Mike.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I made that joke. I was like, it tracks because that makes sense.
Oh shucks.
I'm trying to think who I would have shipped you with in like Harry Potter. Victor Crumb would be a good one.
See, like everyone's like, "Oh, Victor Crumb," but like to me, he seemed really sensitive, even though he was like a sport dude. But like he seemed really
like,
sensitive.
Neville, but like I don't know that you would be like.
Oh, I couldn't deal with Neville. He's too much of a like ditz for me. I'd be like, "Could you get your S together, Neville? Stop burning stuff." Yeah, I don't know. Michael can go. I can think, but I generally don't. I can't think.
Sirius Black, but not as a child. No,
I never thought Sirius Black was attractive. No.
I'm just kidding.
I can't be with someone who didn't shower for 15 years.
Just don't take me seriously.
I'm trying to think of like those like tween books that we read in like Twilight and the Hunger Games, but like none of those guys, like I said, like I was team PETA. I was neither team Edward or I liked what was the brother, the dumb one. He seemed fun. I liked him. I can't remember. Emmett? Is that right?
That might be
I have no
right.
idea. I've never read those.
Yeah. Books. I think, but like I said, like I wasn't like drooling over them by any stretch of the imagination, so I don't know.
You weren't like painting paw prints around your face.
I was I was not. I can't say that I ever have done that personally, nor that I have massive cutouts of anyone in particular.
I probably have pictures of that too.
I really want to see these paw prints. I didn't know that was a thing.
I'll have to dig that up. I'll find it.
Oh man, Michael!
I was such a nerdy like I geeked out over book stuff.
I mean, I geeked out over books too, but I wasn't over here being like
over the top.
Like I guess you and I geeked out very differently.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I don't have a book crush per se, but the first thing that came to mind when this question was asked was so I have always, since I was a little kid, been obsessed with Spider-Man, and I've read those comics, and I have always, since I was a little kid, had a crush on Mary Jane Watson. And I think that probably counts,
I would say that counts. Yeah, you said it's. I mean, you count him on your book reads. So
yeah, I've always had a crush on Mary Jane. This should be fun for you though, Barbara. The next question is, what's your least favorite? No, it's not. It's
I
Lauren answered the last
started.
one.
Oh,
Lauren
Lauren
answered
did?
that one.
Oh
Yeah.
shoot. Okay, my bad, my bad. Okay, go on.
What is your least favorite trope in books?
Oh, okay. I have many.
Here we go.
I feel like I've got into these tangents. This is why all of these are super freaking long. This is my bad. Definitely my bad. Okay, let me pick my least favorite trope out of all the tropes I dislike. Oh gosh. I don't know if I can narrow it down to just one. I absolutely hate miscommunication. Absolutely hate that trope. One of my least favorite tropes is like, if y'all could just freaking talk this out, we would have saved so much time. What else? I'm trying to think. The Golden Boy, not a fan of that one. For like, I'm trying to pick different genres. So for fantasy, I hate like, and I call it the Golden Boy. I don't really think that like the hero complex trope, where like he's just
the chosen one.
no. I don't mind the chosen one. I don't mind the chosen one if the chosen one is more like gray. I hate where it's like the hero's just perfect and has zero flaws, and then you don't really get a character development arc of with the hero, and that makes me just hate the main character. I absolutely hate that. So that's another one of fantasy in YA that was kind of a thing for a while that I absolutely freaking hated was I don't want to call them like whiny, but they were kind of like whiny, woe is me like type characters. That really bothers me. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, or they're trying to save the world and they can't be bothered because this person is like blinking their cute little brown eyes with their really long eyelashes at them. Like, girl, get your head out of the like head in the game, okay? I don't know what that trope is. I made that trope up, but I hated that one. The person who I'm thinking of was Leigh Bardugo's first book series, the Grisham universe. Is that right, Michael?
Yes,
The
it is.
main character in that book is atrocious. I am so sorry. She cannot stop whining throughout the whole damn book. And I'm like, And I remember when these books came out, there was a series of like books like that where it's like the petite, small, like she doesn't know she's beautiful, but like she thinks she's like mediocre looking, but like everyone is like, oh, you're so pretty. She's like, no, I'm just average looking, and they're like 4'8" and tiny and petite and can't like hold a sword, and then like 2 seconds later they're like they can hold a sword. I'm like, what? Where did this come from? I'm going on a tangent here, okay? But like that trope, I hate that trope where it's like no one knows, like she doesn't know that she's beautiful, and I'm like, oh my god, shut up, like just shut up. But anyways, those are mine.
Those are good. I thought you were going to say Love at First Sight.
Oh, I also hate that too. Yeah, I don't like that. Don't like Love at First Sight. Like no one falls in love like that. Like no, that's not a thing. Not even in real life. I don't care who you are. That's not real.
There you go.
That's lust. It's lust at first sight. That's a thing. I'll give you that. Love at first sight? Nah, son.
Man, my answer is gonna destroy teenage Lauren, but that's gonna have to be okay. The supernatural romance.
Oh man.
What do you mean supernatural romance?
Like a normal person falling in love with a werewolf or a vampire.
Oh, but that's every teenager's dream.
Or a fairy or a wizard or
so you're saying the person has to be like normal Joe Blow versus like supernatural? It can't be two supernaturals?
Oh, I don't mind if it's two supernaturals. It's more like the Twilight thing. Like
part is like I'm just like an average human, and you're gonna like convert me to your whatever
to your supernatural genre.
Like if you start dissecting a lot of those, it feels very culty. So even the way Lauren just described it, it's like
culty. Anyway. Convert me.
Anyway, it's either that or.
Oh, no, Lauren.
It literally says Jacob was here on my shoulder.
Oh God. I can definitely say I do not have photos like that.
That was taken outside the West Warren, the West Warren, Wichita, waiting for the movie to come out.
How many of you and your friends did that?
Like 6.
That is amazing. It's super embarrassing for you. I love it for you.
Oh, thanks, Barbara.
I'm just kidding. It's not super embarrassing. I think that's fun. That is amazing.
It was definitely embarrassing. There's so many like cringeworthy things that I did.
The best part is that Jacob was here. Like if you just had the paw prints, that's one thing.
Right.
But
I know, right? Oh man.
We have to post these.
I consent to posting the Taylor Lautner one. You can't post the It's bad enough that it's going to go down in history on this podcast recording. Of people are going to know it exists somewhere in the world.
It's out there, children.
If somebody wants to see that, you can. We can set up a Venmo and you can pay.
Instead of feet pics,
if I'm going to be embarrassed publicly, I'm going to make something off of it.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to Venmo you $10 right now. Sorry, I think it was Michael's. My bad.
It's okay. I don't remember what I was saying.
I'm sorry, I derailed.
Your least favorite trope is supernatural.
I did say that. There was another one.
Romance.
There's another trope. In mystery books or books that have like something like a detective or something in it, the amateur sleuth trope. I don't mind an amateur sleuth in a story that's acting like an amateur sleuth. I do mind when it's like, I'm just a gardener. That's all I do. And now I have Sherlock Holmes deduction powers.
Oh,
I hate that.
I see. Okay.
When they
I
make
don't think I've
a
read
character
lot
who's
of books
never
like that.
been in an investigation situation, but all of a sudden they are like a master investigator.
Can you give an example?
I can't. I don't have an example. Sorry.
Okay, fair.
Lauren actually still has to answer his question.
Yes. So one of my biggest pet peeves would probably be just the love stories that glamorize like cheating. So the trope of like, oh, like we're gonna fall in love because it's a forbidden romance, and like the wife, like they're married, but then like the whole story is centered on like essentially the infidelity piece and like glamorizing that. I don't love that. Never really have.
That's a good one.
Another one is like
abusive relationships, glamorizing that.
Glamorizing that too is awful. Yes. I feel like that one's maybe less common though than the freaking cheating one. Like in the romance category, that's like a big one.
I guess that's true. The only time I'm okay with that is like in the like it takes place in forever ago, and it's like 2 men or 2 women because that's the only way they could have gotten together back then. You know what I'm saying? Because you had because it's like
that's almost consensual, like lavender marriage-esque type.
That's what I'm saying. Like like that type I don't mind as much because I was like, I mean that makes sense because like back then you weren't allowed that, and like people like as a woman you had to get married to own it, not even own anything because you're still property, but like to actually have a living. So that I'm a little more okay, but like nowadays, no. I forgot about that one. Touche. I agree with you.
Yeah, I think also like the whole trope of like like fake strong female characters written by crappy male authors.
I follow someone on TikTok who does readings about that. I'm like, what is this like, atrociousness?
Because the trope is like it's this like strong like female character, but then usually it's either like a warrior-esque type vibe of female character, but like no personality, like no backstory, like she's just like a badass in that way, but like not a lot of depth. Or she's like super like that talks about her beauty and like she ends up being a sex object and like she climbs to the top because of that. And the
name of the one looking at you. What's his name? Michael? Rufus?
Patrick Rothfuss.
Yeah, he is a terrible female writer. Just like all the women, like Lauren. This is one of the books. I'm sorry. I'm totally like taking over this, but this is a great example of bad female writing. Lauren did not read this book, and she is so lucky for it. And everyone's gonna hate me for saying this
because I regret it.
I know, because like everyone's gonna hate me for saying this because I know it's a lot of people's favorite book, or like they really enjoyed this book. But like
for our listeners that are listening to what she's about to say, I just want to have a disclaimer that this is one of our most popular episodes we've ever done.
I understand.
Go ahead.
I understand, and the book as a whole isn't bad, but like honestly, objectively speaking, you have to look at it this way. Literally, all of the female characters but one, and I maybe in the later books she'll like him, are all in love or infatuated with the main character. Literally. Michael, am I wrong? Just say yes or no about that.
No, you're not wrong.
See? That's that.
Well, technically one of the characters is the main character's mother, though, so like...
Oh my god, Michael, shut up. But like that's exactly what Lauren is saying. That right there is that trope, is it not? Like everyone is just infatuated with the main guy.
Yeah.
And like that's all they're there for. Is just to either be saved by him or like a love interest for him. Like, I'm sorry. That's not how that anyways, now that I've, made everyone mad.
Yeah.
Oops.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't really regret reading that or not reading that one. Just based on what we've kind of talked about.
I kind of want to make you read it just to get your opinion. I'm not gonna lie. I really would love to see what you think of it. Like the world building is cool. The magic system is really cool. It's just as a woman reading that's the type of book that makes me angry. That part of it. And it's really like I understand like all guys are gonna be like, oh blah blah. Like you're a guy, you don't understand because it's whatever. I can get on this tangent. We're not going to do that here, Barbara. Stop it.
I think the only other tropey thing that and there's a lot of tropes that I get annoyed with, but the only one that like, because I can get past like obviously, the human falls in love with the vampire, whatever. Like I read those as a teenager. I think if I read them now, I'd be like, meh, this is overdone kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't love the trope of like almost predatory age gaps.
Oh, yeah.
Like with or I guess like love interests that involve power imbalance situations. And I know that that's like a big kink for a lot of people, so I get it. Like in the romance field of book writers, like there's a whole population of people that literally that's all they want to read. And so
the power imbalance
on them. Yes, like basically being dominated. Essentially, it's a thing, and I respect that. I have friends that really like that, does it for them, whatever. I don't love perpetuating the idea of like the trope of like, oh, like getting in with your boss, or like, like the I don't know, like the girl that's just out of high school that falls in love with the old college. I don't know. Like it's just, it just is icky. It gives me like yucky.
I know. When you said the age thing, it's funny because like reading, I'm going to use Twilight as an example because it's the biggest example. Like reading that originally, I never saw it as like an age gap, but like if you think realistically, like yes, he stopped aging at 17, but that's physically. We're not talking about mentally. Like mentally, this man
I thought the
has
same
lived
thing with Edward
for hundreds of years, and that's what we're looking at when we're talking about age gap. Like in
he's
that
like
scenario,
grandpa.
yeah, because like he has lived. I think it was at least I don't remember how old. Like when
it was
he died.
centuries. Like it
right,
was
like
it was like
it's at least 100 years. So if you're thinking about it, like she is literally a 17-year-old. She has the mental capacity, the mental thinking of a 17-year-old. Like yes, he stopped aging at 17, but oh, gross, Michael. Wow.
Said in the chat that he's a very experienced lover.
He was actually a virgin if you read the book, Michael.
That's true.
I didn't.
Supposedly
that's why,
he was
didn't.
a virgin for many years. Who's gonna buy that? I don't buy it.
But yeah, if you if you start thinking about it, it is extremely problematic, and I
It's
agree with
creepy.
you on that one. Like, it's 100% problematic. But like, as a teenager, you're not thinking about that because you're like, oh, he's 17. Like, no, he's not. He might look like he is, but he is not.
Yeah, I always had a problem with that, and my friends that were like super team Edward were like, no, like he's, and I'm like, no, it's weird, it's creepy, like you
Yeah,
guys, it's creepy.
yeah.
So
Oh man, good times.
Oh, Twilight. All right, our final question, which I think it's Lauren's turn to answer first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Final question. If you could unread a book just to experience it again for the very first time, which one would it be?
Harry Potter. Can my answer to all of these
Is
be
that just a
my
blanket?
my favorite childhood series? Actually, that's not gonna be my answer. Except I really do think that it would be nice to like be able to go back and re-experience that. But these are not questions that I can just answer on a
I
whim,
know,
unless
right?
you want my answer to just be Harry Potter because that's my go-to. Come back to me. I'm gonna think about it.
No, I'm
Yeah.
All right,
trying to
Barbara.
think.
Barbara's trying to think too. Okay, let's.
All right, so
have
my
a
answer for
thinking
this one would
time.
be
Yeah,
There we
fine.
go.
Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. If I could unread Lord of the Rings, the entire volume of the books, and reread it for the first time, that would be awesome. But I wouldn't want, as a caveat, since you guys are always doing caveats, if I undo reading it, I don't want to lose all of my lore knowledge about Lord of the Rings, because
No, that's not how that works. You would lose
that would
it.
make me
Sorry.
no
Nope. No.
no.
Nope.
But I
No.
didn't get that lore knowledge from the book.
No.
Oh,
No.
oh
It's so sad.
no,
You would lose all of it. Just
no.
think about it, because you only have that lore knowledge because you enjoyed the book so much. You went to Google and Googled it.
Oh
I'm setting
man,
ground rules.
I never set ground
Man,
rules on you guys. That's not fair.
Yeah, you do. You said I
I
can't pick
will.
my Kindle.
I would allow it, Michael, but I've been overruled.
I'm still picking Lord of the Rings. So, ha. Now Lauren and Barbara have to answer the question they were trying to figure out the answer for.
Technically,
I
Lauren
think.
has to go first. So
I think I'm still just gonna stick with Harry Potter because I can't come up with anything else. The only other ones that I could think of would be like really good psychological thrillers that were like super twisty that like I wouldn't go back and reread because I already like it ruins it essentially. But I can't think of like specific titles at this moment in time. I think it's just like the books, like Barbara said earlier, she can reread most books that she likes, but like a lot of the genre that I read, once you've read the ending, like rereading the book is not going to be as fun. So
Lauren,
I
this
feel like
this question lets you unread it. You
no,
get to
I get that.
experience it
That's what
again
I'm
for the first
saying.
time. Oh,
That's why
okay.
I'm saying I would
she said
probably
that she
pick
would
one
pick
of
one of those.
yeah, I would pick one of my psych thrillers because like I otherwise wouldn't ever really reread them, even though they're books that I really loved, because to reread them is redundant because I already like it ruins an element of the reading experience. I just don't know a specific title that I would choose, but it would probably be if it's not Harry Potter, then it would probably be one of those.
I think Fight Club would be a cool book to re-experience.
I was literally gonna
that
say Fight Club,
twist.
but I already said Fight Club and Harry Potter multiple times, so I didn't want to get shit for that.
You need more books. No, I'm just kidding. I don't. I'm trying to think of one that like emotionally did that to me that I would want to. And it's funny because like I've seen people always comment like, "Oh, I wish I could unsee this movie to re-see this movie, or like unread this book to reread this book," type thing to get that feeling again. I don't know if I've ever felt that way about a book. Like, if anything, I would just want to be like, I want to unread this so I can never read it again because it was terrible. I don't know if I have one where I would be like, oh, yes, that would be great because I just
Can I
reread it.
unread Ice Planet Barbarians and just
There
never
you go.
reread
See,
it?
that's what I'm saying. Like, I've got more of maybe of those than I do of like, because I just reread it instead and it's still like, I don't know. Like, I guess maybe I don't read that many of like what Lauren was saying, that type of genre where like rereading a book would ruin because like you already know like what happened. But like even then I enjoy because like now I know what happened, and so then I want to go back and reread it to like see and pick up on like maybe the hints that the author was throwing, or maybe like even more red herrings that the author had. Like that's how I see it. So I don't know if I have one that I would be like, oh yes, this is, I want to feel these feelings again. I don't. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that for that one. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm kind of lame.
I think you would probably choose to reread Ruth Ware, right?
Oh, no, that would be one of the ones that I would want to not ever read.
In a dark wood would be the one she would pick.
Is that what that book was? That was atrocious. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. That's terrible.
We're going to have to cut that out, so you need to quit isolating our listeners.
Oh no, did they like that one?
Ruth Ware is insanely popular. So
I understand. I don't know why she's extremely popular. Okay? She writes alcoholic women who can't get their S together, who have memory problems.
All of her books are alcoholic women.
Yes, they are. The two that you made me read, both of them were.
The one that I just finished, I can't remember the name of it. It's like her newishest one, was good, and there was no alcoholic women in it.
Well, that's shocking. The two that you made me read were. I'm trying to be so polite here. I'm so sorry, everyone, if you enjoyed those books. You know what? Everyone is entitled to their book opinions. That's just not for me. I tried 2 books. I feel like that's a lot. 2 is a lot.
And with that disclaimer, we will wrap up this bonus.
Sorry. I don't know. Can you pick up one for me? I don't know. I don't have one. I don't have one. Help me. I'm poor.
I mean, I figured you'd pick like one of the Harry Potter books, like your favorite, Prisoner of Azkaban.
I'm trying to stay away from Harry Potter. Like I'm done with that chapter in my life. The author has pissed me off to the point where I don't really care to.
Don't give the author all that power.
Well,
she doesn't own the books anymore. They're
she does
ours now.
She literally does. So I just yeah, I haven't touched in a very long time. It is what it is. So I don't really particularly want to pick that one personally. So I don't know. Maybe one from my childhood. The Seventh Towers by Garth Nix. I read those as a small child. Absolutely loved those book series. Strong female character in it. Loved that for me. So there we go. I think it was called The Seventh Tower. Something like that.
That's correct. Yeah, because you've told me about them. That's correct.
Okay.
Seventh Tower.
There we go.
Yep.
I will reread those series and maybe love them as much as I did as a child.
And with that, now we will actually wrap up this bonus episode. Barbara, do you want to read our some of our final ending statements for us?
No, you can. That's
no?
Fine.
Okay. All right. We'll just sit here in quiet silence.
Quiet in the quiet. Mm-hmm. I mean, no one's stopping you from reading it. You got lips.
I can get my HR voice out. Have feedback about today's episode? Contact us by writing to badassliteraturesociety@gmail.com. You can also send us a DM or leave a comment on Instagram or Facebook.
Look at that. I think Laura can start doing that.
Make sure you're following Badass Literature for free in your favorite podcast app. Give us a rating and leave us a review if they allow you to. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media. Our handle on Instagram, Facebook, and Goodreads now is @BadassLitPod. And with that, we'll see you guys later this month for our full review episode. For now, I'm Michael.
This is Barbara.
And I'm Lauren.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.